Hey again, friends. I just wanted to jump into our next section of the 31 Days of Samhain. We are sticking with divination aspects, and what I wanted to talk about a little bit today was the idea of using a pendulum. So for those of you that may not understand what that is, this is what a pendulum looks like. You might remember, well, I don't know about you guys, but when I was little, they used to talk about how to tell if a woman was going to have a girl or a boy if they were pregnant, and what they would do is they would get a safety pin and put it on a piece of thread and then ask it questions like over the woman's stomach, and depending on the way that it moved, that was supposed to tell you if it was a boy or a girl. Now I say supposed to because a lot of folks just kind of used to do that for fun, but there's actually a way to use a pendulum to make it a lot more effective for you. So pendulums have been used in a lot of societies, like all the way back to like Greek and Roman times. It's not a new tool, it's a very old tool. However, there are some, I'm going to talk about a couple of pendulums real quick, and then give you some ideas on like how to use them and how to make them most effective for you. So again, pendulums can be made of any kind of material. So this one is just like a simple quartz. And then, so like a quartz would be a magnifier. So if you're wanting to do something that you really want to get some insight on, or you want to jump up the energy in what you're doing, a quartz would be a good one for that. Some people will have one pendulum they use all the time, and then some folks will have pendulums they use for different questions. Some are metal, some are wood. A lot of the ones that we have are stone. And like this one is a labradorite one, this little triangle dude. So this would be a good one, like if you want to keep your energy to yourself and not pick up other people's energy. And then there are some out there that are rather fancy. This is a fancier one. So this is a pentagram pendulum, but it's a cage. So if you like, this is blue, so you could use that for working on questions with spirit. But they also have like an amethyst disc that you can put in there. This one's a jasper. Of course, a rose quartz. So there's several different stones that you can swap out depending on what you're doing. And typically when you use a pendulum, there's different ways that you can read it. When you first start to work with it, you want to do what's called programming your pendulum. So anybody can hold a pendulum and have it move, but if you don't know how to interpret the answers, it really doesn't do you much good. So whenever you first get your pendulum, you're going to want to program it. So you'll want to, when you pick one out, you want to put it over your palm chakra, see if you feel any tingling or warmth or any type of sensation, or if you just hold it there and then it just starts to move, then you know that that would be a pendulum that you connect with. So after you find one that you feel like you connect with, you want to make sure that who you're talking to out there is giving you good answers. So pendulums are a good way for your higher self to talk to spirit, again, whatever label you like to call it, and to interpret answers back. So when you first get it, there's a few ways that you can do it, but a lot of people will set their elbow down on a table because it helps hold the pendulum a lot more steady. Most people use their dominant hand. I like to use my non-dominant hand. It feels like I get more information that way because typically for me, when I receive information, it comes in from my left side. And also I like it because it kind of helps my brain switch out of, this is my hand I use for like writing and all the normal stuff, and the left hand, my non-dominant hand, is what I use when I'm doing spiritual work. So I might want to put my elbow on a table so I can ask it questions. So this is nice and steady. Now don't get upset if your pendulum doesn't hang totally perfect. You're not focusing on the way your pendulum hangs. You're focusing on how it moves when you ask it the questions. So as an example, of course you always want to do your clearing and protection work before you start. And a lot of people will like hold it over their finger like that, or hold it between their finger and their thumb. Just kind of nice and loose. And let's say you've already found one that you felt you resonated with. So when we did the test over your palm to see if you felt anything. So let's say you want to start working with your pendulum, but you need to program it. So what you want to do is you want to hold it and say, show me a yes, And a lot of times for a yes, if you're looking down at the pendulum, a lot of times it's nodding, like you're nodding ahead. And if you say show me no, a lot of times it's like you're shaking your head back and forth. Sometimes for some people it may circle clockwise, or it may circle counterclockwise for your other answer. So after you ask it, show me a yes, show me a no, then you want to ask it a question that you already know the answer to. As an example, if I'm holding my pendulum, I can say, is my name Melina? You know, and it's going to say yes or no. So I want to make sure that it gives me a true answer. Otherwise, I need to cleanse my space and I need to start over, because you're working with an energetic that's not in alignment with what you're doing. So after you ask it a few questions, ask it some yes questions, ask it some no questions, ones that you already know the answer to, so you can establish that you have a clear connection. And then you can start to ask it questions. Now, some people will use a board, like this is a pendulum board with all the numbers in that, and you would of course hold your pendulum over that and see if it swung one way or another. The trick to getting the clearest answers out of your pendulum are to ask very clear questions. So you want to come at it from a space when you're very calm and you're very focused. So if you were to ask it a question, here's an example of what not to ask. Should I apply for the job at the library, or should I apply for the job at the grocery store? That's two questions. You're not going to get a clear answer. It should be more like, am I likely to get the job at the library? Yes or no. Am I likely to get the job at the grocery store? Yes or no. Is this a good time for me to start working with tarot cards? Yes or no. And you can really narrow it down. Sometimes people will use this pendulum to find lost items. You can ask it the question, is my wallet in the house? Yes or no. Is it in the living room? Yes or no. Is it in the bathroom? Yes or no. So let's say you get a yes on the living room. Is it somewhere in the couch? Yes or no. Is it underneath a chair? Yes or no. And it can really narrow down where you're going as far as your answers go. So I realize that's kind of a quick little note. Oh, another thing before I forget. A lot of times when people first are connecting with their pendulums, they'll carry it in a pouch and carry it on their person. That way it gets their energetic all over the pendulum, and it helps make a clearer connection when you do that work. I think that's everything I wanted to say in this one. Okay, friends, thanks for watching this short talk on pendulums in the 31 Days of Samhain. Join us in our next segment where we're going to talk about guides and teachers. So again, thanks so much for joining us, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.